quite a few wild grapes growing around out here. Just be aware of the leaf pattern. Okay, because there is Canadian moonseed you can mix up with, and you don't want to eat those. Look at all the grapes growing up in here though. Wild grapes there. So we got quite a few black walnuts here. Fairly easy tree to identify. Okay, you see that leaf pattern there? And you got these clusters of big walnuts with quite a few uses. So we're going to gather quite a few of these and make some dye and some iodine and some solution to tan some deer hide with. And then we're going to have some walnuts left over to make some oil and just nibble on. I love walnuts. Give you a look at the bark here. And sometimes bark can help you identify in the wintertime. If the birds don't get them first, raspberries, blackberries, dewberries are all ripe for the picking. It's about that time. Here we have a little mullein plant. You see them yellow flowers there? You can soak those in some sugar. Get enough of them, you can put them in sugar in a mason jar over a period of time and get yourself good cough syrup. These leaves here, the Indians supposedly used to smoke them to clear tar out of their lungs. You can make a tea out of it though. You know, this whole plant is good for anything involving coughs and colds and lung ailments and such. It's also known as nature's toilet paper. It's softer than anything you buy at the store. These leaves are real soft. Okay, you flip them over. See that bottom leaf there? It's kind of hairy. They say it can cause irritation, so you might want to test it on your skin first, see if you're irritated by it. But I want to gather a bunch of these flowers here and see if we can't make something for this winter. Good cough syrup. But they grow a little bit bigger than this. This is a smaller plant. I'll show you a bigger one here. Here we have a very large mullein plant, like I showed you that little one earlier. It's got quite the pattern going on that stalk there. Get up close to it. Here's your flowers again. Okay, you want to try to pick these in early morning to get all your oils. The sun will eat up all them oils in there. So pick them early. And then you can make that cough syrup like I said. But there you have it. There's a giant mullein there. There's a big one. I showed you a little one. Just remember them soft leaves. Very soft. Like velvet. This sky blue or really light violet colored flower you see all over here, that is known as chicory. Okay, there's a few things that's going to help you with identifying it. You notice those leaves, how they have that jagged saw teeth at the ends there? Okay, look for that. And then in the center, you'll notice on a lot of books and stuff it'll have that. You'll see that center like that. Okay, that's what you're looking for. And then of course your leaves. It's a fairly easy plant to identify. Okay, it's got a little bit of a sawtooth on them leaves. See that there? Alright, chicory is quite useful. In the edible department, it's used as a coffee substitute, the roots, which we're going to grab, and the leaves. Not at this time because this is late summer, but in early spring you can use these leaves as a cook grain. And then just like dandelion, there's light ones underneath here. If you go way down at the base here, underneath, okay, you get under the ground, you have like a whitish colored leaf. Okay, those are good to eat raw. You don't need to cook them, but they get bitter in late fall, so, or late summer. So we don't want to be using them now. But you can always use this as a coffee substitute. Fall, early spring is the best time to use this as a coffee substitute. So we're going to grab some roots and roast them. What you would do is roast them until they're brittle and brown, and grind them up just like you would coffee. Use I think it's like 1.5 ounces maybe to a cup of water, and you can do it however you want. You know, some people like their coffee strong, but it's a beautiful flower, and it's quite handy when you need it. Now, medicinally, the root extracts can be used as like a mild sedative or a diuretic, and they say the leaf extracts are a little weaker, so I recommend using the root extracts and the medicinal side of it. Sedatives can be useful in certain situations if you ever needed it. You know, it's more of a long-term survival thing, and that's why I go over the medicinal side of plants as well. So just keep that in mind. You know, it's important to know the edibility side, but the medicinal side is also important because we take for granted a lot of the medicines we get at the counter, and if you were stuck in a long-term survival situation, you wouldn't have those medicines at hand. So it's good to know your options and test those options as you go safely. And that's kind of how I use medicinals. You know, there's obviously more common medicinals that are useful, like plantain and stuff you could use all the time, but it's good to know the medicinal side of plants as well, in case you ever need that rare occasion of something going on. Okay, you notice all this yellow all along this bank here? Okay, very prominent. Sticks out like a sore thumb. And notice that it's late summer, okay? Because this is when this plant blooms, is late summer. Okay, and what we have here is goldenrod. Okay, now there's some 50 different species of goldenrod. I'm pretty sure right here we have sweet goldenrod, which is quite common, and it's got some medicinal and edible properties to it. It's quite useful. You can also make a dye out of it. First we'll go over the edible, like we did on chicory. Now, the only edible side of this plant would be the leaves and flowers. You can make a tea out of this. Okay, you would steep these leaves. You would steep these leaves and flowers for approximately 10-15 minutes, like anything else. We've got a couple friends here. The leaves can be dried or fresh. It doesn't matter. It's your preference. Okay, notice how these flowers all grow upwards on that. Okay, that's going to help you identify it as well. Okay, these ones aren't bloomed out yet. Here's some that is. It's kind of just spazoid. It's all over the place. But you can make a tea out of that. And now we'll talk about the medicinal side of it. Now, it has much more medicinal property than it does edible property, and part of that comes from the tea, which the Indians used as for fevers and also for snake bites. So it's good to keep in mind these certain things, because you might be out in the middle of the wilderness and get a snake bite, and then you don't know what to do to help in that situation, because sometimes you're too far away to help yourself out, and this is only going to help. So if the Indians used it, you know, they might be onto something. The crushed flowers were chewed for sore throats. So you can crush these flowers up and chew them and just swallow the juices and spit it back out, and see how that works for a sore throat. Everyone hates a sore throat, and it's always like you want to try everything you can to get rid of it. Now the next one I'm going to show you is right next to everything else I've been showing you. Chicory was there, goldenrod's here, and now we're going to look at what is called common milkweed. Right here. Okay, you see those? See that seed pod right there? Okay, that contains some cotton-like material inside of it, which I remember my dad always using to find the direction of the wind. He would bring it out hunting, see which way the wind's blowing, throw a little bit in the air. That's what he always used it for. It could aid if you dried it out in tinder. I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. But this plant has quite a few uses to it. You know, the sap also is toxic. You shouldn't ingest it. But let's talk about what this thing can do. It can be used as asparagus, like a cooked green or cooked vegetable. The milky sap in there is mildly toxic, and it can be removed though with boiling. Okay, you don't want to confuse this plant with dogbane. One thing to help you make sure you don't have dogbane is finding these seed pods. Butterfly weed can also be mistook for this, but it does not have the milky sap. And dogbane is hairless on these stems. If you look real close, you'll see kind of a little bit of a hairy texture on these stems. It's kind of hard to see because it's not very prominent like some hairy stems, but it's there. Dogbane will not have that. You can make cordage out of dogbane, though it's about the only use you can get out of it, but it is very toxic. So there's your edible side of the old milkweed plant. So now let's look at the medicinal properties. Medicinally, this thing was used as a few things. Native Americans used the root tea as a laxative and a diuretic for like kidney stones, say. And the milky latex on these plants was used for warts. I'd love to learn that practice because, you know, the freezer things seem to never work. So that's a good experimental thing, but you have to be careful because this is toxic. You know, it has what is it? Something bad for your. It contains like cardioactive compounds, so that can be pretty dangerous to some people. So be very careful while using any plant that has toxic properties to it medicinally. You can really get yourself hurt. But it is said to. That root tea is said to induce sweating as well, but there's plenty of other plants that are much safer to induce sweating, so maybe you need to check them out first. But this is common milkweed for you. Check that seed pad out. We're going to open that up now and show you what that looks like on the inside. Okay, if you just pop this seed pod open, you got all them little seeds in there. There's also a cotton-like material. Okay, you gotta. It's kind of. It can be moist, so you want to dry it out first. Definitely want to dry it. It could aid in your tinder bundle. It's not. It's kind of like cattail. Once you break it up, it just kind of woof. It's gone. It's not gonna like catch a good solid flame and burn real good for you. So I can take the ferro rod to it and give you an example here to show you what it does. I'll let it dry out a little bit first, because you get that milk on you and look what it does. It just kind of sticks to you. But there you go. There you have it. Common milkweed. We'll hit this with the ferro rod, show you what it does, and you can maybe use it like my dad did and just drop some in the wind, see which direction the wind's blowing. Now right here's a plant that's pretty dangerous to even be talking about because Queen Anne's lace looks so much like it, and to the unexperienced person you could really end up killing yourself if you did this wrong. This is wild carrot. I know what it is. I'm pretty confident when I grab it, and I know that it's wild carrot. One, because of the hairy stem. Okay, and I'm warning you, do not mess with this plant unless you know exactly what you're doing. Maybe go out and take a few classes. You need to look for this stem. See them little spike hairs? Okay, and that's one thing you're gonna look to find wild carrot. It has these umbrella shaped. It's a little different than Queen Anne's lace or water hemlock, poison hemlock. Look those things up and really expose the differences in your brain so you know, because these leaves here can really look similar. You want to look for one thing in the center for sure, but if you look there, right there above my finger, see that little purple flower? Wild carrot tends to grow that purple flower right in the center. Okay, poison hemlock will not do that. And then also poison hemlock does not have the hair on the stem. And if you notice all the way down here to the base and all the way up, it's green. If you see red blotches, red purplish colored, smooth stem, stay away from it. Okay, I know of a guy who took a class out, thought he had wild carrot, and it wasn't. And he killed himself and the entire class. So you really need to be careful with this plant. I tend to stay away from it just from that reason. I know what it is. If I was in a survival situation and had to eat it, I would. But I tend to just stay away from it. But it has a root that is just like a carrot. You smell it, it smells just like a carrot. Okay? That's pretty much what it is. And you can eat these just like a carrot. Cook it, eat it raw, whatever you want to do. That's about as far in depth as I'm gonna get with wild carrot, because like I said, I don't want people going out and just saying, hey, this is wild carrot because I saw it on a video. No, I want you to actually study it with professionals and make sure you have wild carrot, because poison hemlock is one of those plants, one of the few that could kill you if you messed up and got a little bit on your tongue. That's all it takes, is just a little bit. Okay, notice that I peeled that little bark off the outside right here. That's what you're looking for. Okay, there you have it, wild carrot. Be careful, be safe. Do not mess around with this plant. Wild carrot is perfectly safe, but its look-alike, poison hemlock, is not safe at all. Okay, I have gone over this plant here in a couple videos. I showed it to you in my Michigan video, and I went over it in my wild edible, backyard edible video. This here is broadleaf plantain. Growing very close to it is narrowleaf plantain, which is right here. Both have very similar properties to it. Very good plants to know. Edible, use it as a salad green. You have to tear the little fibers. See them lines running through them both? You just gotta, there's a little stringy fibery thing that runs through them. You just gotta pull them out. They just pull out if you break the leaf off. Both of them can be used medicinally. I use them on any cut I get. It draws out any bacteria. Good for snake bites, bee stings, spider bites, whatever, you name it. Make a poultice, put it on there, slap it on, leave it on. And it seems to always help my bites. So it's very abundant here. Go ahead and get to know this plant. It's quite useful. I love plantain. You'll find it all over the rotation. I found it in Tennessee and Florida and here in Michigan. Alright, when you're walking around an area like Michigan, you might have a lot of this stuff floating around. Poison ivy. All the northern states seem to have a high density of poison ivy. I mean, there's a lot in Florida too as well. It's everywhere, I guess. But what you need to do is just look close to where the poison ivy's growing, kind of at the edge of like this field here. You'll find this stuff here. Okay, there's your leaves. You come over to this one over here, and you find these flowers. This is jewelweed, or a touch-me-not. It's the one where it has a seed pod. Touch the seed pod and it explodes. If you rub the stems and the leaves, all crushed up, more so the stems, on your extremities like your arms and stuff, it'll help you to prevent poison ivy. The oils somehow keep them oils off you. So you can grab yourself some of this and cover your arms and your hands, maybe your face a little bit, and you should be good, because there's a lot of poison ivy. You never know if you're going to brush up against it. Okay, I'm back in Tennessee just to point some things out here with this jewelweed that I showed you in Michigan. I didn't find pale touch-me-not, I found spotted touch-me-not, but here we have some pale touch-me-not. See those yellow flowers? There's no orange, no spots on the side of it here. Okay, if there's orange spots on the side, you got spotted touch-me-not. Okay, take a look at that leaf. Same leaf pattern. It's a huge patch of it here. Like I said, it grows right where poison ivy grows. Okay, so you grab them leaves and stems, crush them up, and rub them all over yourself before you get into poison ivy. But here's pale touch-me-not. Let me go over to spotted touch-me-not and show you what that looks like. Okay, and here's our spotted touch-me-not. Okay, see them spots? Orange little tips, orangish reddish. Okay, same leaf, same plant. There's just two different kinds. Spotted touch-me-not and pale touch-me-not. Okay, and I'm going to show you why they're called touch-me-nots. See these seed pods? Touch it and it springs. Okay, that's what they do. You just got to find the big ones. I remember playing with them as a kid. Touch them and they just spring right open and they're gone. That's why they're called touch-me-nots. There you have it, jewelweed. Its main use is for poison ivy. You can make soaps out of it. You can make a cream out of it. You can do multiple things, or you can just apply it as is on the skin before you go out. Jewelweed, or aka touch-me-not. Alright, another plant we got out here is burdock. This is not common burdock, but great burdock. One thing you want to look for is that hair underneath the leaves here. Okay, and I'm going to show you a plant that there's other lookalikes, but they're a lot smaller. So just learn how big these leaves are, and you won't have to worry about too many lookalikes. The only one that really is close is rhubarb, and rhubarb's leaves are toxic. So we don't want to confuse the two, and I'll show you both. Usually rhubarb's planted in your garden though, not out, because I'm in the middle of the woods here. Okay, so we got some burdock here. It'll have a little, this is where it gets confusing because the rhubarb has red, but this just has a small little red vein running through it. Okay, now these leaves can be boiled in several changes of water and eaten. They're not very good, they're quite bitter. You're not going to like them, but you can eat them. But what we really want is the root. The root is good for medicinal type properties. I drink a tea a lot with burdock root, and it's pretty good for cleansing the blood. It's like a blood purifier. Kind of cleanses the body of toxins, and that's what we want to do. So we're going to dig this root up down here. It's big root, so you're going to need a shovel, and we're going to use that to dry out and make a little bit of tea. So you can see how big this leaf is. Here's my hand, and there's burdock right there. Okay, it's kind of chewed up, I know, but you'll see that little, how it has the back like that, kind of like a wild ginger look to it.